All right, y'all. Now, today's episode, I want to get into edges. Now, this is going to sound really weird, but there was a moment where all I saw for quite a while was what Black China and Tiger. They was like, oh my God, they was about to be together. They was going to end up together. Like, that was what you wanted to be like with your dude, the bad bitch with the rap star. Like, God, killing it. Like, that's what we was on. And I kid you not, these was running full throttle with that just to both jump off the deep end together and separate and part just to go their separate ways. Like, shoot me now. Because that's totally boo boo. And so, but again, that just goes to show you that those edges are really sharp, that they're really there. So as soon as you realize that you want to envy somebody else, and I've seen Black China recently now too. Like supposedly she wanted to change her ways, and she stopped doing all the fillers and all of the injections and the body kind of sort of, mutation and with the breast and bottom and you know what I mean, and all of the silicone, all of this stuff like that. She tried to take some of that stuff out and whatnot. And to see these girls in their natural state, is really different from how they were when they were kind of sort of seeking all of the fillers and things like that, all of the things that are outside of them. And my friend Carlos, shout out to Carlos, I love you, Carlos. He was just saying that anytime you go outside of yourself, you fuck up. And that was a yes. So yeah, yes. Thank you so much for that. And this is so true. And because again, when you go outside of yourself, I guess even as a relationship, you know what I mean? Like you going outside of yourself for your bag. I guess that means you don't have the faculties to create to get your bag. So you go to the thing that you know best, which was like the stripping and kind of sleeping around a little bit in order to get the bag, which is where Tiger came in because everybody knew he was rapping. And that's how he ended up accumulating all that money through Young Money, right? The rap label with Bird Band and Little Wayne and things like that. And that eventually became like a meal ticket to Black China's kind of sort of behavior. And that's why maybe, you know what I mean, they got a little tripped up or whatever else and with the baby mama drama and things like that. And but then I also saw that somebody else was kind of sort of saying like they were parenting goals. I'm like, no. I'm like, oh wow. But see, that's again, you go outside of you. You allow what somebody else's perception of a parenting goal is, reflect and honor what your morals are for parenting because it's outside of you again. That's not necessarily the case. So again, it might just give for a good headline or some kind of gossip meal or something like that, but that's really the most that it can ever be. Because when you have those dark edges there, you can see like, okay, is it really best? What they used to say, if somebody else jump off the cliff, you're gonna jump too. You know what I mean? They be asking you, you feel like it's a kiddie, immature thing to say. I get it, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like that's a baby rhyme or something, and it's like, wow, even when they are young, they have these corny thoughts or these kind of sort of evil thoughts or weird thoughts, even as young as they are. That's really where it's rooted in. And when you see them grown up now, like, she's trying to find church and God, I didn't even know that Tiger's mother had died. I'm like, damn, like, what the hell? You know what I mean? So you just slept with her son, basically, and just dogged him out and didn't even see him as a husband type of material. You know what I mean? You just only seen him as a paycheck, as a dude to sleep with to get your clout right. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cold a little bit. You know what I mean? And hopefully, you know what I mean, she can turn a new leaf. But personally, I kind of feel like the damage is done. Truth be told, you know what I mean? Y'all done already jumped off. You done already like, wait, said, yeah, so and so jumped and I'm going to jump too. You know what I mean? Instead of kind of sort of being a leader, like, oh, well, because what happens to the power of no? You know what I mean? Just like we were saying before in the previous video. Just because somebody else is being all sorry and whatever else, does that mean that you have to too? No, you can be safe. You don't have to be sorry too just because somebody else was acting sorry that you saw firsthand in the first place. Like you can always make your own path. So again, and I think that's kind of sort of where independence come in at from too. And I saw another young lady who's a YouTuber. She's a really huge YouTuber, like major scale. And she was saying the same thing that her father had kind of sort of went downhill after one of his previous relationships. So the girl was just in his pocket. I don't know, might have been her mom too, for real, truthfully. And she never wanted to be like that. She always wanted to be able to stand on her own 2 feet and have her own finances financially so that she didn't have to be like what her mother did to her father and or whoever the ex lady was. And I get that, it kind of reminds me of Black China, like, you know what I mean? And I know her mom was kind of sort of, I want to say maybe strung out or something like that too, and kind of sort of, had a rough path in life as well. Maybe that's how that stripping ended up being such a thought as like a lifeline, if you will. And but again, that's very dark, very seedy. It's very kind of stained in that kind of profession light. You know what I mean? That's some of the things that I heard that ladies never want their daughters to fall into as a profession. So it is kind of strange because now that's something that you've chosen to do. I mean, at least in the past, whatever, you can hear Drake and everybody else kind of sort of kind of go down that type of energetic spot where you'll say, you know, you can tell Black China it'll be worth the flight. And that's specifically what he's talking about, coming out to shaking that ass for a little bit of money with you and your girls or whatever else. And so, you know, you'll make your flight back plus a little bit more based off how much cash I'm about to throw at that ass. You know what I mean? So that is what they mean by that's something that they prefer not to have their daughter experience as a profession. So I get that. That's true. And of course, I have a daughter. I've been a daughter. I've never had to strip. I have had some friends before that came very close to stripping. And I was just like, oh my God, like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so when you get to that point, you really have to kind of sort of take a second to scale back. I like to say I step back so that I can kind of sort of move forward with more clarity. Like if have to take a step back to gain greater clarity, then I'll do so. And that's kind of sort of where you have to find yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and even speaking of strip clubs, I'm in Ohio, so I have not really experienced many strip clubs here, and I'm thankful for that. You know, I have seen that some of the girlies I was working at a Renaissance at a hotel downtown, and the girl had, I think, hired some strippers, and it looked really fun, you know. And I was like, oh, cool, you know what I mean? But as far as it ever went, had another girlie who y'all know is like the frenemies and things like that is like a really good example. Like you can't really choose, but you know, it's your friend, but it's your enemy too. You know what I mean? And this particular entity also is kind of like a stripper, strip club type of pusher to go for and hang out and whatever else. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's really something everybody needs to be doing though. You know what I mean? Like people gossip, they be talking about you was at your strip club and you was in here throwing your ones and all. I don't know if I want to be known as the CEO that fits into strip clubs with the ones. Like I don't know, that's a little bit of the nigga what I need to be if I'm trying to be looking like a little bullshit. I don't know. You know what I mean? And again, that was never my idea. This was something else that somebody else threw upon me. And so, you know what I mean? It's like them stones. You gotta just keep on kind of sort of figuring out how to get that off you for a little bit, you know. And stones is heavy, you know what I mean? And sometimes I guess the girlies just don't care. You know, sometimes I was just get to the point where they just don't give a fuck about you. And then, you know, they just kind of sort of throw whatever at you. So there's that. But again, as I go forth and want to deal with my edges and things of that, if I find myself on the edge of something, whether it's, and it's something like they call it diverge too, if I find myself on the edge of kind of sort of breaking into this really great field as a entrepreneur or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? Or if I'm on the edge so much so mentally, why are you making it worse? You know what I mean? Then it begs the question, like you have to kind of sort of find those reasons, like, okay, because you jealous. Why? Why are you jealous of girls who have long hair? Yo, then I kid you not. Why did I just say the other day, what's gonna happen if the world shut down and all the weave is gone? What am I gonna do with my hair? It's gonna be this thick, this small. I'm gonna pick it out and just be out here like, oh, your long hair was a symbol of your youth, and it's like that big, but I'm picking still. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So, anyway, yeah, but or if I'm on the edge of something emotionally, you know what I mean? If I can no longer be bothered with anything else for a while, if I'm mad, upset, you know what I mean? Like I ain't trying to really be feeling like I'm a kind of sort of just be out here just jumping because I feel like you know everybody else is jumping too. That's just not a good look. That's not a good look. And then and also I feel bad for Tiger's mom. Like when I heard that she had died, I was like, damn, I feel like it was all just good a week ago. Like, you know, I was a little crushed a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, damn, you know what I mean? I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But then there's this type of energy. And then I don't ever think Tiger was really cool with his dad. I'm not really sure what happened. You know what I mean? What happened to his dad? And I know he's like Japan and Tokyo and all that stuff. So he kind of likes that type of stuff over there or whatever. Because that's his heritage and his roots is coming from. And so, yeah, you know, emotionally, if I am on edge about whatever, you know, I definitely want to feel like I'm in control of my emotions, though. I'm kind of sort of am a very emotional sign as a Scorpion, as a woman. You know, I'm very in tune with what I'm thinking. I'm very aware of my feelings, my sexual patterns and thoughts and power, the things of that nature. So I'm not really always looking to have anybody else add to the intensity that I've already created. You know what I mean? It's really just not necessary. So with that being said, Yeah, edges, finding yourself that you like on a cut edge or some kind of high class idea, I applaud you. I'm grateful. We need more of that. We don't have enough of it. And so I really can admire and commend young ladies who are taking the time out to create that type of energy. Kudos to you. We wish that it was more people like you out here in these streets, more boss bitches for real, than what it is that we currently have. And the men who really is like, wait, setting the stage to kind of sort of, follow into their footsteps as well. Y'all are important too. You know what I mean? I really want us to feel like, it's mutual because I believe that wholeheartedly.